Hey Kanoi family, this devotional may sound a bit different. It's going to be shorter, more casual, maybe a bit less hurried, and hopefully provides a sense of assurance in light of what's going on in the world right now, the instability of the times. It's going to start with the reading of a psalm and end with that same reading, and the middle will be committed to a few minutes of framing, the question of how do we engage with and interpret this psalm in light of what's going on in the world and how we might be feeling in the midst of it. It's the 23rd Psalm, and it reads like this. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I think the Psalms are beautiful, absolutely beautiful, even if we only read them as a piece of literature and nothing more, just another human work on the shelf. They're beautiful. They're poetic, and in that alone there's something creative and calming that strikes to the very core of our being, that maybe allows us to breathe or sigh a hopeful breath for something in us and in the world to be renewed once more. Then add to this our faith, the divinely inspired component, and this just opens the Psalms to a whole new kind of nourishment and depth possible, that wasn't possible before we started believing in the power, the divine power behind the Word. This makes them organic and fluid, not like ever-shifting shadows, something we see but cannot grasp, slippery fish, but that they're hospitable and flexible invitations to practice our faith. That is beautiful. The Psalms can sustain a prayer life not just for an individual, but an entire community. They can inspire devotionals and songs that endure through the ages, translate into art and beautiful craft, and seep into the unbelieving world without seeming too invasive. That's a rarity. There's just something deeply personal, something raw and potent in a psalm that connects with the human experience, making it relevant and compelling to most anyone, regardless of their stage in life. This particular psalm, probably one of the more familiar today, is no exception to this. It's just rich with these images of wholeness and longing, rest and provision, faith and total worship. I see it as speaking to the restless anxieties of the heart, the panting of the deer, the longing for direction and some kind of hopeful assurance. It's an all too human psalm. I want to encourage us today, this week for that matter, to find ourselves in it. If it truly is all too human, then it's not too far of a leap to say we must be able to find our own humanity in it, and with the hope that we will be met there, regardless of what we find, by a loving God. So let us find ourselves in this psalm, maybe in an image, a word, a promise, an interpretation. And when we find it, let us tread in the waters for a bit, and maybe exercise the muscles in our hearts. You won't find yourselves in all of it, the whole psalm, and that's not really the goal either, to become the psalmist. We're not the psalmist. We are who we are, and it does a disservice to us if we feel we must become the psalmist and map out the psalm into every nook and cranny of our human experience to find the perfect match. Simply search for yourself and be proud of what you find. Because this psalm is a living word, a risen light, and a personal, unending promise that pierces the darkness in our world and revives our hearts, our personal hearts, in the hope of a true life, the descent of heaven to earth. That's special. So remember that this psalm is a word written for us, hoped in by those long before, prayed through by millions, and rested in by the church for millennia. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Let that be a word for us today. Thank you.